Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes. Only in a jaw-dropping turn of events, the Superior Court of California has ignited a firestorm with Judge Harrison Trent's stunning order for the arrest of beloved media icon Ellen DeGeneres. This electrifying development, unleashed on June 1, 2025, erupted after a haunting, previously hidden audio recording by the late Stephen Twitch boss was played in court during Sean Diddy Combs' high-stakes trial. What began as a probe into conspiracy and trafficking charges against the entertainment mogul has spiraled into a gripping saga, ensnaring one of television's brightest stars in a web of suspicion, secrecy, and a potentially criminal cover-up. Buckle up as we dive into a 1,600-word exposé of a truth too explosive to ignore, a tale of late-night parties, veiled threats, and a voice from beyond the grave demanding justice. This isn't random. Those chilling, deliberate words, spoken by Twitch in a calm yet resigned tone, kicked off a voice memo recorded mere weeks before his tragic death in December 2022. The encrypted audio, unsealed and blasted across the courtroom yesterday, shattered the narrative of a simple suicide, painting a darker, more sinister picture. "I don't know who will hear this," Twitch continued, his voice a lifeline to a truth he feared would be buried. "But if they find me, if they say it's suicide, no, this isn't random. This is because of what I know, what I saw." What followed was a riveting, slow drip of revelations, pressure, paranoia, and exclusive parties that hummed with danger. Not your typical Hollywood galas, but shadowy, after-midnight gatherings in penthouses booked under fake LLCs, allegedly orchestrated, funded, and shielded by Diddy, now on trial. "I went with Ellen," Twitch confessed, his words slicing through the air. "She told me to smile, told me everyone in that room was safe, but it didn't feel safe. It felt like I was being watched, like I was being picked." His voice trembled once, hinting at unspoken blackmail, a fear too heavy to name. His final plea: "If anything happens, don't just look at Diddy." Stephen Twitch boss, the magnetic DJ and dancer who lit up the Ellen DeGeneres show for years, was mourned worldwide after his 2022 passing. Candlelight vigils glowed, celebrities poured out tributes, and social media flooded with grief, all under the official ruling of suicide. A note found at the scene hinted at personal struggles, but its full content stayed locked away. Until now, the courtroom hung on every word of the memo, revealing Twitch's growing dread in elite circles where Ellen guided him. He dropped cryptic clues, initials like E and S, a billionaire producer with an East Coast compound, blocked calls, late-night event demands, and NDAs signed in haste. The picture emerging isn't one of despair, but of a man, trapped, desperate to be heard. Ellen DeGeneres, the queen of daytime TV, built a legacy on laughter, kindness, and dance parties, a beacon of positivity. But cracks appeared in 2020 when former staffers exposed a toxic workplace, alleging intimidation and racism. Ellen apologized, her ratings dipped, but her brand endured. Now it's teetering on the edge of collapse. The recording thrusts her into the spotlight, not as a bystander, but a key player in the unnerving spaces Twitch described. "I was with her," he said. "She told me everything was fine, but I think she knew. I really do." Anonymous ex-staffers from her show have since spilled tales of surveillance, control, and orders to ignore Ellen's ties to figures like Diddy. The once untouchable icon now faces a reckoning that's impossible to dance away. Judge Harrison Trent, a veteran of blockbuster cases, didn't flinch. After the audio's debut, court documents reveal feds were already tracing Ellen's financials and travel from 2019 to 2021, linking her to Diddy's alleged after-hours rooms, cell-free, zones with rotating staff and shadowy security. 2 events matched witness accounts, and Twitch was there, invited by Ellen herself. "It wasn't like the show," he whispered on the tape. "She wasn't Ellen that night." In minutes, Trent signed a federal arrest warrant, sending shockwaves through the industry. Fans split like lightning. Some wielded dark justice for Twitch, demanding answers, while others clung to Ellen's charitable past. Her legal team fired back, decrying the charges as deeply misguided. But as of 08:49 a.m. PKT, June 1, 2025, no arrest has landed, yet authorities are circling. Less than 24 hours later, the prosecution doubled down, unveiling a second bombshell, a recording titled Final Draft 4E, cut 3 days before Twitch's death. Gone was the measured tone. This was a raw, wrenching goodbye. "I tried to believe you, I really did," he said, voice heavy with betrayal. "You said it was normal, that people who talk too much disappear because they want to. But I know that's not the truth. I know what I saw, who was there. If you're listening, it's already too late." Specifics followed: dates, locations, flight numbers, tying Diddy's parties to December 11, 2021, and April 9, 2022. Ellen's jet touched down in Los Angeles both times, her public schedule a flimsy alibi. A penthouse at the Highland Viceroy, booked via an alias to one of her shell companies, sat on the same floor as Diddy's event. Guest logs named Twitch as entertainment. Investigators initially hunting Diddy stumbled onto Ellen's tracks. "The paper trail is too clean to ignore," a source hissed. Hotel staff confirmed the bookings, and the dots connected. Then a twist. Allison Holker, Twitch's widow, entered the fray. After his death, she pocketed a $3.2 million legacy disbursement from an unnamed entertainment entity. Her team called it residual earnings, but experts scoffed. "No one pays $3 million in residuals unless they're buying silence," snapped attorney Rhea Barnes. The court subpoenaed Allison's communications from November 2022 to March 2023, peeling back layers of a potential hush money scheme. Former Ellen producers broke ranks too, spilling tales of off-limits guests, after-parties cloaked in secrecy, and a chilling exchange. Twitch, late one day, stared at the floor. Ellen asked, "You good?" He shot back, "Depends who's watching." Third audio file, "If They Say I Gave Up," recorded 12 hours before Twitch's death, waits in the wings. Locked in a password-protected drive, its contents are FBI classified, but leaked lines burn. "I loved my family. I loved dancing. But they're going to say I gave up, and that's the part that hurts most." Judge Trent holds its fate, awaiting proof of authenticity. Speculation swirls. Will it be the final nail? Ellen's team fights to bury it, citing privacy, while prosecutors push for a Monday reveal. Outside her Montecito compound, silence screams louder than her old monologues. No sightings, no statements. Just a legal team on edge. The man who danced for millions may have died screaming a truth no one wanted to hear. This scandal, a cocktail of power, paranoia, and betrayal, has ripped the curtain off Hollywood's glitter. Ellen DeGeneres, once a symbol of joy, now stares down a warrant, her legacy dangling by a thread. Diddy's trial rolls on, but Twitch's voice, steady, then broken, echoes beyond. The Ellen DeGeneres Show isn't just a canceled talk show anymore. It's a blazing cautionary tale, a jagged mirror reflecting how far a polished image can bend before it shatters. Stephen Twitch Boss is gone, but his voice, his raw, unfiltered truth, is finally roaring through the silence, a cry that echoes from the grave to the global stage. For the first time in years, Ellen's grip on the microphone is slipping, her once golden persona crumbling under the weight of a story she can't control. The world is listening, and it's not her script anymore. When Ellen's confession flickered across screens, it didn't spark relief, it ignited a firestorm. Her carefully crafted words, meant to soothe, instead tore open wounds, raw and bleeding from years of buried pain. Within hours, digital platforms erupted, a tidal wave of voices, fans, survivors, and skeptics, demanding real accountability. Headlines slashed through the noise like knives. Ellen admits guilt, but will the system bend? Social media pulsed with fury, memes and threads dissecting every syllable of her video, each frame a brick in the wall of doubt. That evening, a crowd swarmed outside Warner Brothers studios, not to curse one woman, but to mourn a shattered illusion they'd clung to for years. Posters blazed with raw grief. He danced so you could smile. You turned away when he wept. Candles flickered in the dusk, their flames trembling in the wind, not for vengeance, but for a reckoning long overdue, a silent plea for truth to rise from the ashes. Inside the legal arena, prosecutors pounced, their focus razor-sharp, reframing the case as a cultural conspiracy, not just a celebrity scandal. The investigation exploded outward, a wildfire torching the shadows, reaching beyond Ellen, beyond Diddy, into the murky networks that fueled decades of silence. Talent agencies faced subpoenas, their files pried open like locked diaries. Former partygoers, top executives, entertainment lawyers, even city officials were dragged into closed-door testimonies, their secrets spilling under oath. Some cracked, trembling as they betrayed old alliances. Then a bombshell detonated, buried in the metadata of tWitch's cloud storage, overlooked by family and law enforcement. A folder labeled Archived Contracts and Quiet clawed its way to light. Inside, scanned NDAs, timestamps, signatures, and chilling email threads between assistants and publicists plotting to handle optics. One line, sent from a burner account to a slick PR firm, seared the page. If he leaks, pivot to mental health. We've done it before. Another email, time-stamped late at night, whispered of damage control meetings and loyalty checks for staff who knew too much. The courtroom wasn't just trying a case. It was ripping apart Hollywood's glittering armor, exposing the rust and rot beneath. Amid the legal inferno, another name stormed back. Diddy. Silent for days, he paced behind the scenes, then filed a motion through his attorneys, begging for immunity in exchange for cooperation. His team's words dripped with deflection, claiming he merely hosted the parties while others wove the web of expectations, a tangled net of power and fear. Buried in that plea was a subtle shift, fingers pointing elsewhere, away from the man who'd once ruled the night. A leaked, sealed proffer unveiled a stunner. Diddy named Ellen not just as a guest, but as a puppeteer, actively recruiting artists, assistants, and dancers hungry for her favor, luring them with promises of spotlight and stardom. One name burned brighter than the rest, underlined by investigators in red ink. Stephen Boss. What was once a theory hardened into a case. tWitch had been lured, reassured with warm smiles and false safety, then abandoned when he saw too much, left to drown in the undertow of secrets. Social media's pulse shifted from support to sorrow, then blazed into rage, a digital inferno. A hashtag, "He tried to leave," surged globally, a battle cry trending through the night, shared by millions. From LA to London, posts flooded in, grainy photos of tWitch's radiant smile, old clips of his electric dance moves, and heartfelt pleas for justice. Alison Holker, who'd quietly weathered the media storm, finally shattered her silence. Outside the courtroom, flanked by her legal team and the Boss family, she gripped a single page, her hands trembling, and unleashed a torrent. He wasn't broken. He was betrayed. He wasn't depressed. He was disillusioned. He loved life, but not the one they forced him to choke down in silence. His only mistake? Trusting those who took his kindness for weakness. Her voice cracked, eyes blazing with grief and fury. As she demanded a formal inquest, was Stephen Boss coerced, threatened, or drugged in the days before his death? The motion hit the court that afternoon, a legal grenade lobbed into the heart of the scandal. Then, a gut punch landed. Security footage from a hotel suite, tied to one of those shadowy parties, clawed its way to light. It showed tWitch, tense and wired, entering with Ellen at his side, her presence a quiet storm. In the elevator they clashed, silently. He shook his head, defiance in his eyes. She gestured downward, a quiet command, her face a mask of control. He turned away, shoulders rigid. She touched his arm, a gesture both gentle and chilling. He froze, a statue of dread. 3 days later, they smiled for a light-hearted social media post hyping the show's finale. A masquerade now unmasked, a hollow charade. Forensic lip readers scrambled to decode that elevator exchange, a ticking clock to truth, while analysts pored over every pixel, hunting for clues in the shadows. For Ellen, already confessing moral failure, the slide toward criminal blame was a cliff's edge. Her legal team raced into negotiations, trading full cooperation for a lighter sentence. Behind closed doors, she spilled names, agencies, private transport firms, silent investors, peeling back layers of complicity. Then a bombshell detonated. Ellen had recorded a private video confession months before the scandal erupted, titled, "If They Ask," saved to an encrypted drive, recovered only after her handover. It captured her voice cracking. "I told him it'd be fine. I told him to stop asking questions because I was terrified too. I didn't kill him, but I made sure no one saved him either." Played in a closed-door session, no cameras. Its shockwaves rattled the industry. Streaming networks halted talk shows. PR firms fled legacy talent, and celebrity foundations begged forgiveness for blind eyes, their apologies ringing hollow against the roar of betrayal. The reckoning wasn't just brewing. It was a wildfire, consuming all in its path. The days ahead shook Hollywood to its core. Not a scandal, but a collapse. Not a cancellation, but a confrontation. A slow-burning truth torched decades of curated charm, ironclad contracts, and institutional lies. The public craved more than answers. They hungered for revolution. The California State Attorney's Office, under relentless pressure, launched a formal probe into entertainment's chokehold NDAs, zeroing in on the Ellen DeGeneres show, its production allies, and guest lists from the infamous Midnight Floors. Investigators dug into dusty archives, unearthing more contracts, more hushed deals, each one a brick in the wall of silence. But the human cost deepened, a heavy toll on fragile hearts. Allison Holker, grappling with grief and media vultures, revealed anonymous threats to her family, cryptic texts, shadowy calls in the night. Her kids were yanked from school as paparazzi stalked their home, cameras flashing like lightning in a storm. In a fierce statement with her attorney, she pleaded for privacy and fired a warning. "The people who want this buried aren't done. They've lost their shield, so they'll hunt the witnesses." She wasn't wrong. Within days, 2 of Diddy's former event staffers backtracked. One cited intimidation, voice shaking in a leaked audio. The other vanished from social media, a ghost in the digital void. A notorious Hollywood fixer, known for scrubbing scandals, was caught, erasing party photos and guest logs, her hands stained with digital dust. She clammed up, pleading the fifth. Her silence a wall. A chilling truth emerged. The reality Twitch died to unveil wasn't just ugly. It was deadly. Yet voices rose, defiant and unbroken. An anonymous letter, postmarked Nevada, arrived at the court in looping cursive. No sender, but a haunting claim. A 2017 party, a young actor, dark penthouse windows, mandatory phone surrenders, and Ellen, arriving late, barking orders. It closed. "I thought I was alone. Now I know I'm not." Verified by experts, it flipped the script. An artist integrity review board, legal minds, ex-performers, trauma experts, sprang up, a safe channel for buried stories. Tales flooded in, a deluge of pain, each one a crack in the facade. Ellen, gagged by legal bonds, faced charges: obstruction of justice, criminal conspiracy to bury evidence. At her sentencing, she ditched scripts and lawyers, stepped to the mic, and bared her soul. "I stopped listening when I should have heard. I laughed when I should have dug deeper. I'll carry that forever. No tears, no pleas, just truth." She got 2 years of restricted freedom, monitored residence, restitution. To victims and mandated cooperation. Some cried leniency. Others saw measured justice. For Twitch's loved ones, it was a fragile dawn. On what would have been Stephen's 42nd birthday, thousands gathered in downtown LA. Dancers wove breathtaking tributes, some to his beats, others, in stark silence, motion speaking where words failed. Allison took the stage, not to weep, but to roar. He wasn't a headline, not a hashtag. He was a father, a creator, a friend. Today we dance because he told his story and the world heard. A voice bellowed, "He didn't give up!" The chant thundered, a tidal wave of truth. Stephen Boss wouldn't be a man who broke. He'd be the spark that cracked the walls,